everyone. Welcome to Tuesday Tips with your Nurse Advocate Consulting. Hi, my name is Pam, and as always, I'm here to help you navigate the challenges and joys of caring for your aging loved ones, and including your entire families. We're kind of focusing on the sandwich generation this month, and I do want to say that I am recording this. And it will be shared tomorrow during our Tuesday Tips time. We are headed to the Minnesota State Fair. I'm going to go with my daughter, her partner, and our little granddaughter. So we're going to do this recording this time. So please forgive me for not being live. But today's topic is all about making fun, time for connection, fun, even when life gets busy with, back to school routines. The summer's over with now. We're settling into a new routine. We'll talk about why family fun matters and how do you include your aging parents, grandparents, and some practical ideas that you can use this week. So let's go ahead and get started. So the important thing is this may say, well, this really isn't a serious discussion, and no, this is more of a lighter discussion, but it does have some serious aspects. So let's start with why this is so important. When you're part of the sandwich generation, it's easy to get caught up in to-do lists, doctor appointments, school schedules, but family fun isn't just nice to have. It's really essential for everyone's mental and emotional health. And so for our aging loved ones, the stakes are even higher. And I just wanted to share a few statistics that we have on this topic. So more than 1/3 of adults aged 50 to 80 report feeling isolated. And this is from a study from the University of Michigan National Poll on Healthy Aging in 2020. Another statistic is that social isolation increases the risk of dementia by 50% and stroke by 32% in older adults. And this comes from the National Academies of Science, Engineering, and Medicine in 2020. And our last statistic that I like to share is that 77% of adults over the age of 50 want to age in place. And that means staying in their home, staying in the communities that they, like for as long as humanly and safely as possible. But with that, independent comes for a higher risk of loneliness. And if we don't intentionally include them in family life. So this actually came from a Forbes Health posting from 2024. So social connection isn't just good for the soul, it's vital for physical and mental health. So, for aging loved ones, feeling included boosts their mood, reduces isolation, and even improve their cognitive health, as we've mentioned. So for kids, it's a chance to learn empathy and to build lifelong memories. And for you, fun helps prevent burnout and strengthens family bonds. So it's nice. For me, I'll admit it, it's nice for me to be able to take a break in the middle of the week to attend the Minnesota State Fair around all the working things. And I need to be careful also of burnout. I mean, my life's work is to get in the weeds with you and solve problems and challenges and caring for your aging loved ones. So, that puts me vulnerable as well. So, make time for the opportunities to have a little fun. So what are some common barriers and how do you overcome this? I know what you're thinking. Who has time for fun? So common barriers could include feeling like there's not enough time, worrying about, mobility or health issues of your aging loved one, and not knowing what activities everyone will enjoy. And, here's the good news. Fun doesn't have to be elaborate or time consuming. It's about connection, not perfection. So a tip is schedule fun the same way you'd schedule an appointment. Even if it's 30 minutes can make a difference. Maybe it's just playing a game or playing some cards. Or again, we've talked about this in the past. Grandkids maybe helping their grandparents how to use some technology or navigate, the internet. It doesn't have to be anything elaborate, especially for those that have mobility challenges. One of my favorite things is everybody loves the zoo. And so if that's possible, that's always a great outing. So let's look at activity ideas for all ages and abilities. So number one, what if we schedule a game night? Maybe once a month, once every couple of weeks. I know once a week might be too much. So let's start out with once a month. So Board games, card games, or even dice games. Choose games that are easy to learn and that don't require a lot of movement. And pro tip here, why don't you let your aging loved one teach you a game from their childhood, and the kids can learn and everybody can learn a new game. So that would be kind of fun. Another activity would be cooking or baking together, making a family recipe or trying something new. One of the neat things that we used to like to do around Thanksgiving is that my sister-in-law would come in from South Carolina for Thanksgiving. And, our daughter was there, my mother-in-law was there, and we would make lefse. And that was something that we all did together. We laughed and had a good time. And we made, a treat for Thanksgiving dinner as well. So cooking and baking together can be a great idea. Making like I said, making the family recipe and assign each person a simple task. When we were doing lefse, we would laugh because we'd all take turns rolling it out and trying to get it as thin as possible, and then taking the paddle and trying to get it on, the little burner, and without putting holes in it. And it was just a lot of fun. And the lesson didn't always turn out perfect, but we really enjoyed doing it together. So another one would be maybe story sharing or family night out. Interviewing your aging loved ones. I mean, the kids, I think, would love to hear stories about what it was back in their day, and not necessarily those kind of stories that says, well, when I was your age, I walked 8 blocks or 10 blocks uphill to get to school. No, just share some of the things of what life was like back then. And that, like my mother-in-law would say, that they took a horse in their buggy to go to school sometimes, or sometimes they had to walk through the woods because that was a shortcut. So just simple things like that would be great. And if you can record these stories or video, that would be even better. Kids can ask questions, record the conversation as a family keepsake. So that would be another fun thing to do. Nature walks or garden time. Gardening together is great. That's another one of my favorite activities. I was even looking for a senior independent living facility for a client that we're working on. And one of the independent living areas actually had raised gardens that the residents could reserve as their own, so that they could do their gardening at the independent apartment slash assisted living. So that, I thought that was a really neat added benefit for that. So, going for a walk if mobility challenges, or even if they have a scooter or a wheelchair, maybe, a short walk, getting them outside. Plant seeds in pots. This can be done in the house. Arrange flowers. Bird watching, that can be done from the window. Maybe a set of binoculars or a bird book that you can all, try and identify the different birds that you're seeing. Maybe putting feeders outside the window that can help facilitate that. Another one would be some arts and crafts. So simple projects like coloring, making cards. Scrapbooking is a great idea. While your aging loved one is with us, it's so important. When my mother-in-law passed away last year, we are still going through photo album after photo album of old photos. Some of them, there were things written on the back, but we have a whole box of photos that doesn't have any writing on it. We don't know who any of them are. So please take advantage of this time so that you can get those pictures identified while your aging loved ones are still with us. Pro tip 2, create a seasonal decorations together for back to school or fall, or for Christmas, for the holidays, Hanukkah, whatever holiday is that you're celebrating. Maybe do some crafts and get a head start for that, and help make, like the grandparents can maybe help the kids make teacher gifts, things like that. Movie or music nights. Pick a family favorite or let your aging loved one choose a classic. Music is especially powerful for connection. Maybe a sing-along, dance in the living room. We remember my grandma. One of the things I remember most is, as a kid, she liked Mitch Miller. Mitch Miller was this band from, many, many, many years ago. And he had all these sing-along songs. And we would learn all the words to those, and we would sing. We would have a blast. My grandma played the piano. So that was something that I remember as a child. That was a lot of fun. The last suggestion is virtual visits. If distance or health keeps you apart, set up a video call for a shared activity. Play online games, watch a movie together, or do a virtual show and tell would be fun. That's something that you can do. So those are some ideas for some particular activities. So tips for making activities successful. Number one, keep it simple. Focus on togetherness, not perfection. Remember, progress versus perfection. Be flexible. Plans, they may need to change, so go with the flow. Don't, I sometimes I get challenged. I'm a planner, so I plan everything out, and when something goes wrong, I have to pivot, and I do, but don't be too stringent. Allow for some flexibility. Include everyone, assign roles or tasks so all ages can feel valued. We did at Christmas time, we did a murder mystery, uh, kind of a theme, and we all dressed up and we all had parts, and it was a blast. Another one is, capture the moment, take a photo, jot down, write down, in a diary or a journal. Keep track of these memories that you can look upon them later. Let's address a couple of challenges. So if your aging loved one resists participation, invite them gently. We'd love to have you join us, but no pressure. There would be lots of reasons why they would hesitate to participate. It could be they're just kind of mindful that maybe they're not as sharp as they were before. They don't want to embarrass themselves, or they don't want to appear any less than what they want you to remember them as. So please be gentle. There could be a lot of reasons why they don't want to get involved. And again, choose activities that tap into their interests or their strengths, their talents. So a good idea is to have them help, suggest something that would be, fit into their wheelhouse. And all of us that are younger, and the younger kids, I mean, we're going to learn and pick things up a little bit quicker. So maybe give them some input on what you do. And then start small. Sometimes just being present in the room is enough. Just watching a movie together, something that doesn't require a lot of dialogue, but they're still having that company and they're engaging. Make it fun. Maybe have a snack, a beverage. So if mobility is a concern, maybe adapt activities or ask help from your care team or a nurse advocate. Maybe, something depending on that person's, individual needs. What could be some good suggestions? So in wrapping this up, remember, family fun doesn't have to be fancy or expensive. It's about making memories, reducing stress, strengthening your support system, and preventing isolation in those aging loved ones. If you need more ideas or help coordinating care, please check it out. We're going to put in a link in the description, both in the replay video as well as on our Facebook page. We have got a new guide out called the Sandwich Generation Survival Guide. We're really excited to share that. That's a brand new guide, and we'll share the link to go ahead and get that. And again, want to thank you for joining me for Tuesday Tips. Thank you for the grace of not being live this week. I hope you found this information helpful. Please share it with a friend. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more support and resources. We'll see you again next week. Take care.